We are out to create experiences that truly enhance families and members' lives here in the Valley and beyond. But we are out to make a difference. There are so many experienced investors in this group that are just aching to give back and to share some of our mistakes and what we've learned along the way. What we want to do is create amplified success for people so that they don't have to make some of the same mistakes and pay the stupid tax that a lot of us that have been investing for years and years have made.
Welcome to the Boise REIN Show, your destination for creating wealth through connections in real estate and business. Are you looking to become a real estate professional? Do you want to start your own successful real estate business? Well, I'm your host, Matt Osojnicki. Join us as we learn from the brightest minds, industry leaders, and experienced professionals, equipping you with the knowledge and confidence needed to make informed decisions and thrive in the ever-changing real estate landscape. Your journey starts now. Welcome, everybody, to the Boise REIN Show. I'm so excited to have everybody on here today. We have a very special guest, Jonna Weber, with us, and she is going to describe her entire story on how she found networking to be one of the most important relationship building and business building tool that she has in her arsenal. And we are so excited to get in it. Jonna, if you don't mind, tell the guests, tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thanks, Matt. This is so exciting. We've talked about starting this podcast for a while, and it's so great to see us bringing this into fruition, and cannot wait to hear some of the lives that you're going to touch and stories that you're going to hear over the coming months and years. This is great.
Definitely. So I have found that storytelling, it's been around since longer than written language. And we really connect to people's stories and their trials and tribulations, challenges, and also their successes. It's a phenomenal thing to experience. And we really hope to bring that to life here on the Boise REIN Show. With this being episode 1,
Woo-hoo!
right? There's no better time to start than just to hear your story. So before we talk about real estate, tell us a little bit more about, you're getting done with schooling and you're trying to make it out in the career field and compete against other people. Like, where did you get your humble beginnings?
Where'd that start? Well, It was a long, long time ago. But, one thing that some people may not know is I grew up in San Diego, California, and moved to Idaho when I was 16 years old. But my parents and grandparents were native Idahoans, fourth generation on one side. So they came back to the homeland, so to speak. When I was 16, we moved to Idaho, and I wound up at University of Idaho. Go Vandals.
Nice.
And after graduation, I got a very general communications degree and moved on down to Boise from Moscow area and started my first career, in which I was actually a corporate meeting planner. And I'll tell you why I started that career. It wasn't because I'm necessarily so organized. Part of that job entailed a lot of glamorous travel, in which we took companies to exotic locations to have wonderful meetings and incentive programs. And that is exactly what I experienced after college. I had a great opportunity where we worked with corporations, Fortune 500 corporations, and took them all over the globe for incentive trips and meetings. So that was a fun experience.
That's amazing. And for those of you listening right now, I want you to really pay attention how we tell this story, because I've known Jonna for a while, and a lot of the listeners may have as well. But what I found so interesting about her story is she has found a passion in what she does to help others in her business that really correlates with the story that she's telling. So the fact that you were in meeting planning really jives with what you're doing today. So
it's funny how things come full circle.
They always do. It's incredible that a lot of people really don't know what to do with their lives. They don't know where to go. They go to college and they're like, I'm just going to get a business degree. I'm going to get a financial degree. I don't really know what I want to do. But you find that you enjoy some of the work along the way, and that work becomes your passion. And you really have a passion for that today. So was that all you did before you got into real estate investing? Was that your first job?
No, actually, real estate was my third career. So I was a corporate meeting planner for 6 years, worked my way up in a small business that was based here in Boise. It was called Meeting Systems. Unfortunately, they no longer exist, but it was a great period of my life, really, before I had kids. So that was an amazing opportunity to work my way up and meet incredible business-minded people from all over the world at that time as well. Was able to stay home with my kids when they were real little. We had a short stint in North Carolina for a couple of years, and my husband was working his way up the corporate ladder at the time. And then we settled back in Boise. We missed Idaho, and once they started school, I looked for something which I could incorporate, their school schedule, as a lot of moms do, and I started substitute teaching, and then subsequently I got my teaching certificate and did a little bit of actual teaching in the classroom for elementary. And at the time, it was a great, I probably didn't get involved in that for the right reasons. It was a great opportunity when it came to my kids' schedule, but, unfortunately, as we all know, teachers are not compensated the way that they should be, and turns out I'm extremely, extremely entrepreneurial, as you probably know me today, and that did not last too long. About halfway through my first official teaching job, that first year, I decided that we needed to do something a little bit different to give us some more flexibility and financial opportunities.
Yeah, isn't it incredible when you move from, the W-2 realm to now I'm working for myself, now I'm working for John and my family,
Mhm.
how invigorating that can be and challenging and exciting and nerve-wracking all at the same time?
Oh, 100%, and it was a little scary at the time, but then once you start really delving into the endless possibilities when you go work for yourself, for me, it's completely contagious, and once you catch that bug, you never go back, or at least most of us
Yeah.
don't, and that certainly was the case for me.
Definitely. One thing that I have found is that it's super hard to go from the W-2 side to working for yourself. Like you have a steady income, a steady job. That's super risky. That's not something that in the education world today that we're brought up with. Like it's go to school, go to work, get a good job, raise your family. And I get that there's many ways to do it, but that transition, how does that transition look like?
Well, the transition looks like, if you're not doing it for yourself, nothing gets done, right? And so you're getting you're whether you have a home office or whatnot, you're getting out there and you're creating your job every day. You wake up unemployed. And I have a lot of entrepreneurial blood in my family. It's something that I grooved on and really developed really, really quickly. And I know that's not the case for everybody, but I do think that there's more opportunity than people give themselves credit for to work for themselves if given the right mentoring and opportunity, but they've gotta treat it like they are unemployed every day and create that job for themselves. I've been a full-time agent for over 10 years and mentored a lot of new agents, for example, and, I think that's the biggest fallacy when people are getting into the real estate industry, whether it's as an agent or an investor, that they transfer out and they just think that's gonna translate and somebody's gonna just like a W-2, tell them what to do every day, and that is even with your most highly paid coaching programs out there, that's not the case. If you don't take initiative and create your own opportunities, you're setting yourself up for failure, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. And without an income, like how are you going to live? How are you going to live and how are you going to invest? If you want to invest, whether it's in real estate or business or whatever asset vehicle you're looking into, like you still need that active income. So that I imagine there was definitely a transition period where you and your husband were
Mhm.
maybe buying real estate while still working and figuring out what that timeline looks like. Were you guys actively investing in real estate before you decided to make the transition?
Yes, actually. So, Matt, I know you know a little bit of my story, but it was about 20 years ago that my husband Reed was really gung ho into the real estate investing space. Started to hear about folks like Robert Kiyosaki and so forth, and reading some of those books. Podcasts were not a thing back then, but he was constantly pitching me deals of development, single family purchases, and things that he wanted to go for. But I was a nervous Nelly at that point, so I credit him for really starting us in our investing journey, and we did invest for about 10 years before I made the jump from teacher to real estate agent, but it was really, primarily my husband's doing in the early years.
Yeah. I want to drive this point home, and that is so important to hear your story because it doesn't happen overnight. I
Mm-mm.
know a lot of people listen to podcasts, they read these books, the gurus like quit your job today and start investing
Yeah.
tomorrow. Like it doesn't work that way. You have to take it one step at a time and figure out what works best for you. You've got to be able to make those failures,
It
those mistakes.
and you need to make those sacrifices. So another
Yes.
thing that I should state on that, during those first 10 years when we were investing, Um, we lived pretty darn simply. I was very fortunate that my husband had a W-2 job and we were able to save and live very modestly in order to make those real estate investments. And I remember even raising the kids when they were little in elementary school and so forth. And we didn't live a lifestyle like a lot of their friends did. We took our kids to a pretty fluent school community, and a lot of them were living large, which was wonderful. And they got to go on great experiences with their friends. But we lived in one little property that we were gonna use as a rental for 1 year. We wound up living there for 9 years where we took money out and invested in rental properties rather than into our quote unquote "dream home" at that time, and we also drove old cars. So, looking back, I don't know if it'd be that quite that easy to make those sacrifices, but I think it's an important point to note that if people are really gonna go forward and create success, they've got to be able to withstand the short-term pain because it's not all the glamour, it's not all the real estate investors, leaning against Lamborghinis doing no work. I mean, this journey has been 20 years of sacrifice, very concerted effort and focus on what we wanted to have as we moved into our empty nest years, which
Yeah.
is where we're at today.
Very humble beginnings indeed. And especially because you don't know what you don't know. I know looking
Right.
back on it, you can look back at your past self and say, you know what? I made a few mistakes here. I wouldn't have done that differently.
For sure.
You know that now, but
Mhm.
you have to go through those experiences yourself. You really do. I know personally for Kylie and I, we were actively investing for 2 years, trying to figure out like a shotgun blast. What do we want to invest in? What business do we want to start? I remember we wanted to start like a drone business. It was, you have to have those exploratory years where you have that active income coming in just to find yourself. And once you do find that asset vehicle you want to explore and really focus and hone in on for you as a real estate,
Mhm.
it's not an easy thing to learn. How did you and your husband learn how to invest in real estate, how to become business owners, and take that path?
Well, that's a great question. It was iterative. It wasn't like all of a sudden, whoa, we knew what we were doing or we knew the great, paths to take. I think I can point to a few different little points in time that really took us to the next level and how we made that mental shift from being W-2 for my sake, being W-2 employee into being a self-employed real estate investor and then, of course, agent. And it truly is being part of a community. When we were having the recession back here, back in the day, you were a wee boy, Matt. But when we were having the midst of the recession, that's when my wheels really started turning as far as I think we can do something with this to create some passive income for ourselves. And that was all about that time where I was like, oh, is teaching my thing? I don't know. And we had a scary experience when my husband was going through the recession and not only himself, but many people at his company and all the companies of people we knew were losing jobs or getting to that point where that was a near possibility. And it was like, I was staying home with the kids. I don't, and then I had a part-time teaching job, very little income. And how are we going to do things differently if something were to happen? And so I started searching for what's out there. How can we connect? I've heard, we've been passively investing for, several years, but we just had a few properties and it wasn't anything meaningful. And I started thinking in earnest, what could happen if we got serious about this and really learned what we were doing? Well, there's two things that I did. The first thing that I did is I found Bigger Pockets online. I started connecting in their forums. And, we're not Facebook groups in the way that there are today. And Bigger Pockets was very small at that time. And I connected, and I remember I was doing a specific search on what kind of flooring should I put in a rental property, and I started meeting people and connecting with people. And then the second thing is I heard that they were gonna put on a summit, their first ever Bigger Pocket Summit. This was 2012, I believe. And I went and approached my husband and I said, I know I don't have any income right now or anything like that, but what do you think if I just hop on a plane and go to this Bigger Pocket Summit?" And I got there on faith. I didn't really have a business to, proclaim myself. I literally was teaching school at that time. But I got in the room with 300 other people that were doing the same thing or much further down the path than I was. And I realized that these people weren't, no offense to them, but they weren't anything special. And if like they could do it, then I can do it. And a light bulb went off, and that was huge. So I guess I would say that one thing I can point to is getting around others that had already proven that they were human and they were normal just like me, and it was possible to have true real estate investing success without being a guru.
Yeah, definitely.
Selling something in the back of the room. It was going to lunch, grabbing coffee, grabbing a beer with these people face to face and hearing their stories, some of which had already left their W-2 jobs, but they were just like my husband and myself, and that belief just increased exponentially.
This show would not be possible without the support from our local community. Because of you, we're able to share information from leading professionals like never before. That's why our sponsors at Boise Turnkey Investments and Your Stay B&B have teamed up with the Boise REIN Show. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, they help bring you all the insider information to get you started on your journey today. Back to the show. I want to get back to the guru. I'm glad you brought that up. But before I do that, I want to relate your story to a college experience because you're experiencing your college years in real estate investing. When you
Yeah.
go to school, it's tough. You're nervous. You don't know who you're going to sit with. Everybody's smarter than you. You know, you just put yourself in this place where it's like you don't know what to expect. And you have this. I've noticed the same thing in real estate too. When you go to college, you're there to learn the courses, whether you want to become a doctor or a lawyer or an agent or whatever fancies your passions that you think you want to do with life. You have to pay for the schooling. You go into debt. You sometimes don't have a job, and it's a super risky thing, but it's so normalized these days. Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go to school and I'll get a job after to pay for it, right?
Right.
There is no college course for real estate investing. There isn't. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to get on the plane. You have to put yourself around other people who have done it before so you can start learning your education experience and how you want to move forward. And I found that to be so fascinating because I've heard people so many times say, I'm not going to pay $5,000 to go learn this. I'm not going to pay $2,000 to become a part of this mentorship program. And just if you think of it holistically, like college, like you'll spend $100,000 and put yourself in debt through college, but you won't spend $2,000 to do something that could potentially change your life. And the
Right.
ROI on that $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 is just phenomenal when it comes to business or real estate or whatever asset vehicle you're in. So these are your college years. You're finding out, right? Now let's talk about the gurus
Yeah.
because people think that they need to find a guru to learn from. Do you have any experience with gurus or can you talk anything about gurus? Because I want to finish it up with something juicy.
Okay. Well, I guess I kinda take a neutral stance on that because I have friends and colleagues and close people that I highly, highly respect that have invested heavily in, highly paid coaching programs and that sort of thing, and I do think there is a place based on what your objectives are. If there's something very specific that you're looking to achieve in which you can get a shortcut, that is huge, and I think that you should be willing to make an investment in that. I do feel before you go that route and you really go all in, you need to do your initial due diligence and you need to have a heart to heart with yourself on what you want and what kind of work you're going to put into it. Because even with the most highly regarded person or coaching program out there, they're not going to work harder than you are. Like I said at the beginning, when you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna invest in yourself more than anybody else is, and that's not gonna change whether or not you have an investment in a program. I do think there's something to be said when you have an investment in something, whether it's joining a network, whether it's joining some sort of other membership, whether it's 20 bucks a month or whether it's $2,000 a month, you're gonna have a little bit of skin in the game, which gets you into more action, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. And I want to preface that. I think that was a great explanation of what I want to talk about because we see a lot of the social media people these days. Those like look to as the gurus. Come to my event, come to my conference. Like,
Mhm.
you're spreading yourself so thin to go out there when you have everything you need right at home. There are so many people, not only here in the Boise but area, but all over the country. Find your local groups, find your local networks.
Mhm.
Get in touch with people that are already doing the thing that you want to do and go provide value. Give, 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 and then give, give, give again. It doesn't matter. Find wholesalers, find construction workers. If you want to learn how to build houses, go find someone building houses and help them.
Right.
They need trash taken out. I promise. You may have to do some work for free. You may have to make some sacrifices, but there's plenty of people in your local network, in your local community that you can go out and help after you're done with your W-2 job for the day or on the weekends. And I found that by taking that kind of action, you're going to learn way more than you ever would reading a book and retaining that. So with that being said, how, in your opinion, what's the best way to reach out to people that would be in your community?
Well, you hear it. Many people listening have probably listened to how many Bigger Pockets podcasts or, been affiliated with situations where they say, reach out to your local RIA or your local association, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, as you and I know, Matt, this year we've been building something special. Whether you're listening from Boise, you can get involved with our network, or maybe there's something. I don't know if there's something like we're creating in other markets, really. But I would suggest that you get involved with the network of people in your community that have gone before you and are doing the same thing with you to not only give you those connections for the people that you need to meet and maybe you are going to get involved in a mentoring program, coaching program, but you're talking face to face with people that have been involved and can give you the pros and cons and the advice and the camaraderie to really know how to take your business to the next level. So I would say getting involved in your local network where you can affiliate with others that are like you in your community would be an absolutely no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So from my experience here in Boise, Idaho, I have never seen more success than I have personally joining the Boise REIN group.
Thank you.
And that's what we're here talking about today. And this is our first episode, and I'm very happy to say that. I'm proud to say it because I would not be here today if it weren't for a network group like what you have. And it was so easy for me to do. All I had to do was get on the social media platform. You have it on Facebook and a few others now,
Mhm.
and just ask questions and find out people who needed help doing something that I was good at.
Yeah.
And I can't thank you enough for setting up something like that. So with that in mind, can you tell us more about what the Boise Real Estate Investor Network is, how it got started? Like, let's get into that.
Okay, sounds good. It's been an iterative process and it's been one of those things. You've probably heard like the hockey stick analogy where things go slow, 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 and then all of a sudden they jump up really quickly. Well, that's been Boise Rene in 2023. I started holding local investor meetups about 9 years ago now here in the Valley. I had my very first one with 5 people that showed up. One of them was Dan Walters, who's one of our first pro members. And we sat around a table downtown Boise and we shot the breeze about investing in Boise. Imagine that. And we held those quarterly for been consistent for the last 9 years. And then around 2017, we started the free Facebook group. And I did that as a way for me to connect and get some of the answers that I was looking for and provide some of the answers like I was being able to tap into for resources with bigger pockets back in the day. But the difference is this is local, right? So if I need a handyman or if I need a contractor or if I just need some advice and something's gone wrong on a rental and I just need to commiserate, I wanted my people. I wanted to get involved with that community that was like-minded. You hear that said all the time, but it's true. So that we can support one another. And so we built this Facebook group and it grew over the years to the point where as of last year, we needed full-time moderation help within the Facebook group. We were gearing up towards, I think, around 3,500 members, 3,000, 3,500 last year. And, sometimes you just have those little feelings like something's about to change and there's opportunity to help more people at a bigger level. And I got this inkling that this really wasn't just a Facebook group, that it was a network and we were going to grow this and we were going to align with the best of the best in the Valley. And my vision has become that if you are an investor or interested in investing in the Treasure Valley or support our investors, that it's a no-brainer that you're part of Boise REIN so that we can connect with each other and really um, rise all together. And so last year we changed it from just this Facebook group to the Boise Real Estate Investor Network. We've got our legitimate website up and running now, boisereen.com. We've had, I believe, 3 live events with many more to come. And that's where my meeting planning background is coming back. And it's really fun because this isn't just like, a casual meet and greet meetup. We are out to create experiences that truly enhance families and members' lives here in the Valley and beyond. They can watch them recorded or what have you, but we are out to make a difference. Think I shared it at a recent event, but my vision is to help over 1,000 families locally create financial freedom for themselves. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's hard, but you need community and people supporting you along the way to make that happen. And however we can give back, there are so many experienced investors in this group that are just aching to give back and to share some of our mistakes and what we've learned along the way so that others, such as Matt, you haven't been 20 years in your journey yet because you don't have that much life behind you, but what we want to do is create, um, amplified success for people so that they don't have to make some of the same mistakes and pay the stupid tax that a lot of us that have been investing for years and years have made.
Yeah. It's incredible how easy real estate investing can be, when you surround yourself with the right people, the right network, the right knowledge. And it is hard work, don't get me wrong. We've
Mhm.
had our humble years and everybody needs to go through those times, to learn what it is that they want to do and what works best for them. But the fruits of your labor is just substantial. It hockey sticks. When you think of like a 401k that you put into for 40, 50, 60 years just to, draw from it when you're 62, hopefully, if there's something in there.
Yeah,
Like real estate investing is an incredible alternative and can compound on itself depending on how hard you want to work at it. And it sounds like a lot of the members in the Boise REIN group can help with those things.
for sure.
So the group has a plethora of individuals in it from a wide variety of experiences. And that's another thing that I love about your group because me personally, I'm in the short-term rental space. And there are times when I need like a handyman right now, or I need an attorney to figure out how to acquire a deal, or I need a CPA to figure out how can I structure my P&L for this client. And I have found that even though Boise REIN is an investor network group, there's so many people in there that can help. And there are a lot of things that I don't know and that I'm not good at. And personally, I have found that it's not about how you can get something done, but who you can find
Ugh,
to help you
yes.
get those things done.
Totally, and I think it's one thing that I did not expect out of this group is some of the people that have aligned and are joined and are excited and part of our pro member community are not actively investors yet, but they are the people that support the investors, and they, of course, they're benefiting. They're meeting investors, but we're benefiting from them, from their expertise, whether it's a real estate attorney, a CPA, an insurance person. Valerie, who's one of our connectors that just led our networking our last event, she sells insurance. Amazing opportunity, and I we're just so thrilled to have such a variety of people that are aligning in the common purpose of, real estate as a space. There's a ton of agents. So it's not just investors. It's almost like, you're probably familiar with BNI or Business Network International.
Hmm.
I apologize if I have that acronym wrong, but where you're actively connecting with people in all sorts of walks of life and industries. And because you're working alongside them closely, you're getting to know them, and there's that natural community that's forming. So you build that know, like, and trust, and you're working with people that are going to do the best for you in whatever your circumstances that you need. And that comes over time. So someone can't just hang up their shingle and say they're an entrepreneur. You can't just buy a Boise Green Pro membership and just call yourself, you know, I guess you can call yourself a pro member, but you're not going to get anything out of it. You have to participate and you have to be part of it. You have to put yourself out there and be willing to give because that's what this is about. It is, we've all read, many of us have read The Go Giver, and it truly is about that. Let's give as much as we can to each other, and much more is going to come in to return. There's something unique about a community where everyone is putting other people's interests first, and that doesn't come along very often, but I've seen it throughout the year as we've been building up this Boise REIN network, which is something that's truly special, and I can't wait to see how it continues to grow and some of the not only relationships that are gonna be formed over the next several years, but the deals that are gonna be done and the connections and partnerships that are gonna be made. It's really fun to watch.
It is. And like I said before, these are the university years. These are your your learning stages. And in order to do that though, you have to show up to class.
Mhm.
You have to do your homework. You put yourself out there. And if people want to put themselves out there, do you guys offer like free events that you go to? Cause like, for example, I know Molly and Corey, they do their own meetup, but like, are there like monthly things that Boise Green has or some of its members use to get people together just on a monthly basis?
Yes, there's more coming down the pike every day. So, what the best thing I would say is to just go to boisereen.com, and there's a link to join our free Facebook community, get on our email list. We send out a real detailed email once a week letting you know what's coming down the pike, and we've got our community events and all kinds of things coming down. So, the best thing to do, it's a very fluid community right now as we keep adding more and more things. So if they hop on our list or they jump into the website, they're going to get all the scoop.
Yeah, definitely. So to get your start, I would definitely get on there and start interacting with everybody on the Facebook group and get involved. And then get your face out there. Meet people face to
Yes.
face, shake hands, tell stories, tell your story, and see what aligns with other people that you can work with. And then from there, I know you said you have the live events and you have the pro membership. Really consider putting yourself all out there and getting the most out of your education, your college experience in real estate as you can, or business. Because me personally, I wouldn't be here today without something like that. And I love that you put that here together. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of your live events and what you're trying to do and some of the stuff that you've accomplished with the 3 that you've had already?
Oh, they've been so do you think they've been fun, Matt?
I've
I
been to
was gonna
every
say they've
one.
been
They're
fun, but I
amazing.
really
I've met so many
and
awesome
thank you for
people.
speaking at our first one, Matt, and there's much more to come. You've got a gem here in your podcast host, guys, with so much information that Matt, that your wealth of energy and education for our members. So thank you for that. But it's been wonderful. Last week we had a really fun connection event. We had our Boise REIN supporter and member Luke Caldwell, who of course was a star of HGTV's Boise Boys and Outgrown, and he shared his journey. And these connection events are not so much like, here's your whiteboard and here's all the tactical numbers and here's how you're going to crunch all the numbers. We have opportunities for that, no doubt. But these connection events are really to we have 3 words that we say. We inspire, we collaborate, and we elevate. So we're here to elevate your life. I think life should be fun, and I think it needs to be lived to the maximum. And so if you're about the status quo or just having an okay time, you're probably not the right candidate to come to one of our events. We have fun, we laugh with one another, we're goofy, and we are enjoying one another and really excited about our futures. And so it's just a really unique, fun environment that's hard to describe. We need to get you over there to connect. And our next one's going to be all about goal setting in as we step into 2024. I think that's going to be very special. But we've got some great things planned as we head into 2024.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. You know, we just really described in a nutshell that there is a place for everybody, no matter what level of investing you're at, whether you're just starting, whether you're right in the middle, you want to come to some of these meetups and network with some of your local community contractors or investors, or if you want to come to a live event and talk to some of the bigger players and get some skin involved in the game. And then finally, with the pro membership, when you're ready to take this seriously and really elevate your game to the next level, there's opportunity to do that. And learning from the best. When you go to college, you want to learn from great professors, tenured professors. When you're in real estate, you want to learn from people who have done those mistakes before you, who have made those sacrifices, who can help guide you along. Is that kind of the direction with your pro membership? Can you talk a little bit more about the direction that's going?
It is. I've been involved in several groups and masterminds over the years and so forth. And there is something special that when you get in a little bit of a smaller room with people and have that community with others that are invested in themselves, there's something that's unique. And we've talked about elevate. It elevates your life. And so becoming a pro member is about taking one step closer towards your financial journey to connect with others that have gone there before you and are going with you and giving you every opportunity to have the resources and the proximity that you need with other experienced investors to go to that next level.
Yeah. And so the saying goes, show me your network and I'll show you your net worth.
Oh,
And
yes.
that couldn't be more true. You are the accumulation of the top 5 people you spend your time with. So why not spend time with the best?
Right. And I should say too, it's exclusive in that we want to make sure that we have the best of the best, but we welcome people that are running other groups here in town in the Boise area, people that are generating their own type of investing model, anything. If you're involved in investing, period, in the Boise Treasure Valley area, you should take a look at Boise REIN because we would love to have you and have your contribution and hopefully create a win-win.
Yeah, definitely. And I do have to say from personal experience, I need to rant a little bit about this, is that I've made some of my lifelong friends from the Boise REIN. There are times we don't even go out and talk about real estate or business. Like we just hang out together because it's incredible when you find people who share the same goals and visions as you do. You just make those connections and we'll have these friends for the rest of our life. And that's kind of like an awesome byproduct that, a group like Boise REIN has to offer.
That's amazing, Matt, because this hasn't been that long of a journey, so I'm really excited to see where some of these friendships are gonna lead in the next 5 to 10 years, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I'm so excited. Well, with that being said, the Boise REIN Show is put in place to tell those stories that you're going to make with these connections. And my intent moving forward is to hear everyone's story. Everybody has an amazing experiences and challenges and things that they have gone through that we can all learn from. And I want to get their voices out there and heard because there's nothing better than learning from people who've done it before. So moving forward, we are going to be bringing people on from the community, hearing
Right.
their stories. We're going to be coming on once a week for you guys to chime in, and whether you're driving to work or you're driving to the job site or you're buying a new house or you're starting a new business, this is going to be your place to hear from those people who've done it before you. Now, Jonna, before we get out of here, what's one actionable item that people can take today to get them closer to their goals tomorrow?
I would say one action item that they could take is to stop being a lurker and to jump in and join, whether it's Boise Reen or something else that they found, join something, join a community, get to a live event, introduce yourself on a Facebook post. Take action by introducing yourself and getting out of that comfort zone. I know myself sometimes, you know, I've had events where I don't wanna show up, right? Sometimes it's comfortable to get under that blanket and to watch that Netflix show, but we need to get out there, get out of our comfort zone, and make connection with other people. I think in our society, it's more important than ever, and I think it's one of those things too, particularly in the Treasure Valley, that's gonna contribute to a stronger Treasure Valley. I can go on and on about it, but strengthening our families, et cetera, but get out there, and even if it's not for yourself, do it for somebody else. And I guarantee you, you'll be glad that you did and you've made a difference in somebody's life and probably learned something along the way.
Yeah. I know personally I'm an introvert and it's hard to get yourself out
You're
there.
an introvert, Matt.
I'm totally an introvert, but I have found, this is one of the lessons I learned in becoming an entrepreneur, a businessman and real estate is that if you want to see real change, you have to change your environment. You have to. You can't expect to go to the same store and buy something different. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And in order to do that, you have to put yourself out there. And it becomes easier, I promise. It does. But you're going to learn more and you're going to better your future, your family's future, your community's future by doing it. So I love that answer. Just get yourself out there. Start networking with people. Well, Jonna, I really appreciate having you on today. But I know there's a lot of people who are aching to meet you or get in touch with you, maybe take you out for coffee. If you don't mind sharing, what would be the best way people could get a hold of you?
Oh, thank you. Well, a couple of things. We've got of course, our Boise Reen website, boisereen.com. Someone could also email me directly, which is just Jonna, Jonna, at Jonna Weber with 1B.com. And that would be a quick way. And then, of course, we're on Instagram, Jonna Weber. And then you can also follow Boise Reen at Boise Reen. That would be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on today, being a guest. You've been an amazing experience. And I want to end this by thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Boise REIN Show. It's been awesome having you. We're looking forward to the future and providing as much value as we can. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next time.